Hey there, and welcome. Today we're going to dig into something that's totally essential for any website, but it often gets pushed to the side. We're talking about internal linking. Now, I know it sounds a little dry and technical, but stick with me. By the end of this, you'll see it's actually a really creative and powerful way to improve your site. Okay, let's get into it. So to really wrap our heads around this, let's use a metaphor. I want you to picture your website as this big, beautiful garden. Every single page, your blog posts, your services, your About Us, each one is like a different planting bed, with its own unique flowers and vegetables growing in it. Okay, so if your pages are the flower beds, what connects them all? Well, that's where the paths come in. And those paths, they're your internal links. When you design these paths the right way, they do two incredible things. First, they guide your visitors through your garden, keeping them exploring and engaged. And second, they show search engines how everything fits together, which can give your rankings a major boost. It's a total win-win. All right, so how do we become the expert landscape architects of our own digital gardens? Well, it all starts with a solid plan, a blueprint. This first part is all about laying down that strong foundation for your site structure.
A strong foundation really comes down to 5 key things. First, you need a logical structure. Think of this as the basic layout of your garden plots. Then, obviously, you need great content to link to. From there, it's about making smart choices. You always want to link to the most relevant page, and by placing important links higher up on the page, you're signaling, hey, this is important. And finally, you've got to make it a habit. Every new blog post is a chance to weave your garden together just a little bit tighter.
And we can get even more granular with our blueprint. Your header and footer navigation, those are like the main highways of your garden. Make sure they go to all the best spots. And don't just cram links everywhere. It's all about balance. You can even use jump links to create little shortcuts within a single page. And this is crucial. Make sure your whole team is on the same page and you're regularly checking your work. A garden doesn't just tend itself, right? Okay, so we've designed our paths, but how do we get people to actually walk down them? That's where anchor text comes in. Anchor text is just the clickable words in a link, and you should think of them as the signposts in your garden. They tell visitors where a path goes and, more importantly, why they should bother taking a look.
So what makes a good signpost? Well, it's all about being clear and helpful. It has to be easy to read and tap, especially on a phone. But if there's one golden rule, it's this. Avoid generic stuff like "click here." That's a blank signpost. It tells you nothing. Instead, you want to use descriptive keywords that just fit naturally into your sentences.
But here's where we go from just good to great. See, great anchor text doesn't just describe where the link goes, it actually persuades. It makes a promise to the user. It says, hey, what you're looking for, the answer you need, it's right here. It's all about creating momentum and building trust with every single click.
Let's look at some real examples. Click here is totally meaningless, right? But get your free report. That offers clear value. Or how about learn more? It's so vague. Compare that to estimate your cost. Now that's a specific tool that solves a specific problem. You see how the language goes from being passive to being active and really gives you a reason to engage.
Here's another great set. Buy now can feel a little aggressive, like too much of a commitment. But add to cart, that feels like a much smaller, lower pressure step. Or take read reviews. It's fine. But what about search 300 plus user reviews? Wow, that gives the user specific details and a sense of control. It builds trust instantly.
And this last one really highlights how you can empower your visitor. Shop now is a command. Filter by style is a helpful tool. And my favorite example, get solutions is just so generic. But find your perfect tool with our quiz. Now that's not just a link, it's an interactive experience that promises a personalized answer. That's compelling.
Every beautiful garden has to deal with weeds. And in our digital garden, the weeds are all those outdated or just plain bad habits that can sneak into our linking strategy. So it's time to roll up our sleeves and do a little weeding. Let's bust some common myths. Okay, first up, this is a big one that's a leftover from the old days of SEO. The thinking used to be that if you wanted a page to rank for a keyword, you had to use that exact phrase for every single link pointing to it. But does that still hold up today? No, absolutely not. In fact, doing that now can look really spammy and unnatural to search engines. The modern, smarter way to do it is to use a whole variety of relevant phrases. Think about synonyms, related questions, different ways of describing the topic.
It feels much more natural to the reader, and it shows search engines the full breadth of what your page is about.
All right, this next myth is born from fear, really. The fear that if you link out to another website, your visitor is going to leave and just never come back. So the thinking goes, you should hoard your links and only point them to your own pages.
Actually, the exact opposite is true. You don't want to be selfish with your links. Linking out to other high-quality, authoritative sources is a sign of confidence. It shows you've done your homework and that you care more about helping your user than just trapping them on your site. That's how you build real credibility and trust.
And the final weed we need to pull, the more is better fallacy. You know, if a few links are good, then 100 links must be 100 times better, right? So let's just cram every possible link we can onto the page.
Wrong again. Here's the deal. Search engine crawlers have what's called a crawl budget. They may only pay attention to a certain number of links per page. The general guideline is around 150, and that includes your navigation. So stuffing a page with tons of links is not just overwhelming for a human, it's also a waste of time for SEO. You have to prioritize. It's always quality over quantity.
So, we've designed our paths, we've written our signposts, and we've pulled the weeds. But a garden is a living, breathing thing, isn't it? It needs ongoing care. This last section is all about that continuous work, the auditing and measuring you need to do to keep your digital garden healthy and thriving.
So when you do a regular checkup, here's what you're looking for. First, broken links. Those are dead-end paths that just frustrate everybody. Then you've got to find your orphan pages. Those are pages with no links pointing to them, making them basically invisible. You also want to check for something called link text cannibalization. That's when you use the same anchor text to link to two different pages, which just confuses search engines. The goal here is a clear, fully connected garden.
Now, the great news is you don't have to do all this by hand. You've got a whole gardening toolkit at your disposal. Website crawlers can automatically find those broken links and orphan pages for you. Your analytics platforms can show you the exact paths your visitors are taking. And all kinds of search engine tools and SEO plugins can give you these amazing insights right inside your dashboard.
So how do you know if it's actually working? Well, these are the key numbers to watch. If your pages per session is high, that means people are happily exploring your garden paths. A low bounce rate means they're not hitting a dead end and giving up. Your number of orphan pages should be heading towards 0, and page depth tells you how many clicks it takes to find stuff, and usually, the fewer, the better.
Which brings us to what I think is the most important point of this whole thing. Internal linking. It's not just a checkbox on some technical SEO list, it's the art of anticipating what your visitor wants to know next and then gently guiding them on a journey to find it. At its heart, it's really about being a thoughtful and helpful host. And that's a wrap on our explainer for today. We've laid the groundwork, and now the real work and the real fun begins. So I want you to take a look at your own site and really think about the journey you're creating. Your garden is already there. It's just waiting for you to design the paths. Thanks so much for joining me.